in the game, yo.
It's all in the game.
This right here is part of the game, D.
It's all in the game.
It's all in the game, though, right?
The game is the game.
The game is the game.
That's the game.
That's the game, yo.
Now you're in the game.
The game is the game. The game is the fucking game.
You ever notice how The Wire doesn't just tell you a story? It sets up a mirror. A mirror that forces you to ask yourself some uncomfortable questions. Like, in a world where the rules are unwritten, where bodies get dropped for less than a sideways glance, who gets remembered as honorable, and who gets remembered as disgraceful?
It's just the street and the game and what happened here today.
Because let's be real, on the surface they're all killers, hustlers, criminals. But somehow Omar Little dies a legend while Stringer Bell dies a fraud. Why is that? Why do we mourn Omar but shake our heads at Stringer?
But who is he, yo?
He the motherfucker the bus stop we gonna rob. That's who he be. We talking in circles and shit. Yeah, you know what this is.
Son, I'm just trying to get home from a late shift here, son.
Oh, you got, old man.
You mind if I keep my wallet and my license? I don't want to have to go to Mondawmin and DMV and spend all day in them lines.
Yeah, keep that.
See ya. Won't wanna be ya.
16.
He took $16 from that man on his way home from work.
16 more than we had, motherfucker.
Anthony, get it back.
Say what?
Omar, man.
Man, the brother not cut out for this and shit.
And maybe the better question is, why do the streets themselves, the people inside that world, make the same distinction? Because that tells us something not just about these characters, but about the game itself. Let's start with Stringer. Idris Elba plays him like he's got one foot in the streets and one foot in the boardroom, glasses on, college textbooks open, drawing up plans like he's about to run for city council. He wasn't dumb. In fact, he might have been the smartest player in the whole show. But smart doesn't always equal honorable.
We'll be doing even better when we get that new package.
New package, same as old, man.
Say what?
Ain't no new package. Just gonna put that same shit out in a different color gel cap is all. Might spike that shit with some procaine or some caffeine, but otherwise the same.
String, man. People already coming back on us telling us that shit is weak.
I know, shit is weak, but, you know, shit is weak all over. But the thing is, no matter what we call heroin, it's gonna get sold. Shit is strong, we gonna sell it. Shit is weak, we gonna sell twice as much. You know why? Because a fiend, you gonna chase that shit no matter what.
And when it came to Stringer, his smarts came with shortcuts. Think back to D'Angelo Barksdale, Avon's nephew, Blood.
Nigga that's steady rolling, ain't asking you for shit. That's the nigga I want to hear about. Understand?
Yeah, man. Shit, you know how to play a nigga into a corner, String.
Yeah.
Let's pause here for a second because this is brilliant writing. D'Angelo once said that Stringer knew how to play a man into a corner. And then look at how D'Angelo dies, literally in a corner, pressed against a door.
We're not gonna do it.
Strangled by the very world Stringer built around him. That's not coincidence, that's unhinged poetry. Even Stringer's name, Stringer Bell. Think about it. He strings people along, hangs them with his moves, and then the bell, like the tolling of death. Maybe it's a stretch, maybe it's not, but you've got to tip your hat to writing that layered. Stringer sat there, saw D'Angelo starting to slip away from the family, and instead of loyalty, instead of trying to bring him back into the fold, he arranged for him to be strangled in prison. And the way the show shoots that scene, it's almost quiet. No street corner drama, no shootout, just betrayal in the most cowardly form. That's not how the game respects a man. You want someone gone? You face them. You stand on it. Stringer tried to make murder look like paperwork. Now look at Omar. Michael K. Williams turned him into one of the most unforgettable characters in TV history. We have to stop here on this scene for a moment. Omar is being hunted down by 3 cold killers, Michael, Snoop, and Chris, and he runs out of bullets. He doesn't retreat. Nope. Instead, he launches himself out of a 3rd-story window like he's Batman without the cape, and somehow he survives. If that's not heroic, I honestly don't know what is. The man's bones are probably dust at this point, but his legend, untouchable. It's in moments like this where The Wire stops being crime drama and turns into mythology. Okay, now let's get back to the scene.
I don't believe it.
Omar robbed drug dealers, sure. He carried that sawed-off and whistled Farmer in the Dell while doing it. Sorry, I just have to go down another rabbit hole. Omar whistling the Farmer in the Dell might be one of the coolest, strangest choices in all of The Wire. Think about it. A children's rhyme, light and innocent, twisted into a death march. Every time you hear that whistle, you know someone's about to get robbed, maybe killed, and the song itself, it ends with "The cheese stands alone." That's Omar, the last man standing, isolated by his own code. It's almost poetic. And then the irony, he isn't taken out by a mob boss or some supervillain, but by a random kid. The legend ends not with a grand showdown, but with a pop in a convenience store. That's the genius of the writing. It builds a myth and then kills it with banality. I can't help but geek out over how intentional that feels, but maybe I shouldn't start with his death at the beginning. But maybe that is ironical as well and fits perfectly in this misshaped tell of an anti-hero that isn't a hero at all but has a code. But here's the thing. Omar had a code. He didn't put hands on citizens. He didn't touch people outside the game.
This here is a taxpayer murder with an eyeball witness.
The eyeball witness is lying, yo. Come on now, when you ever know me to put my gun on anybody that wasn't in the game?
Oh, my.
Old face.
And in a world where rules are constantly bent, twisted, or broken, that consistency became its own form of honor. People feared Omar, but they respected him too, because they knew where the line was with him. So let me ask you, what's worse? Being feared because people know exactly what you'll do, or being feared because nobody knows what you'll do next? That's the difference between Omar and Stringer. Omar's fear was clean, almost surgical. Stringer's was messy, unpredictable, rooted in betrayal. Now, where does Marlo Stanfield fit into all of this? Marlo was the game distilled to its purest form. He wasn't pretending to be a businessman. He wasn't trying to escape to legitimacy. He was young, ruthless, and he understood something Stringer never did. The game isn't about money. It's about reputation, about the crown.
It won't hurt nothing. There now. Joe, relax. Breathe easy.
Think about that scene with the security guard in the store. Marlo steals a lollipop, something small, something meaningless. The guard checks him, tells him to knock it off, and Marlo gives him that cold stare.
You want it to be one way.
What?
You want it to be one way.
Man, I don't
You want
know
it
what
to be
you...
one
Man,
way.
stop! Stop saying that.
But it's the other way.
That's Marlo telling the world the truth of the game. The rules you think matter don't mean anything. The only rule that matters is mine. And he never flinched from that. Now contrast that with Stringer at the co-op meetings, sitting in a suit, talking about efficiency and supply chains like he's pitching to venture capitalists. You can almost hear the disconnect.
Rick do have a point.
All right then. All those in favor of going together so we can get the best discount on New York package. Raise up.
Guys like Joe, like Marlo, like even Avon, they humored him, but they never respected it. Why? Because he was trying to turn the game into something it wasn't, and in doing that, he broke its one unspoken law. Never forget where you came from.
Motherfucker, what is that?
Mr. Robert Rules say we gotta have minutes for a meeting, right? These the minutes.
Nigga, is you taking notes on a criminal fucking conspiracy? What the fuck is you thinking, man?
Omar never forgot. Omar leaned into who he was. He even testified in court. Do you remember that? When Levy tries to break him down,
You are a parasite who leeches off
Omar flips it right back.
Just like you,
the
man.
culture of drugs. Excuse me? What?
I got the shotgun. Got the briefcase. It's on the game, though, right?
That line hits like a hammer, because Omar, for all his violence, saw the truth clearer than Stringer ever did. He knew everyone was playing the same dirty game, just in different uniforms.
Hey, look, I ain't never put my gun on no citizen.
You are a moral. Are you not?
So let's really dig into this. Why is Omar seen as honorable? It's not because he was good. Let's not kid ourselves. Omar killed people.
Come on, get in the car!
He instilled terror.
Hey, y'all, here it comes.
But he did it while drawing a boundary, and boundaries matter in chaos. He made the game fair in his own twisted way. And that paradox, being a criminal with a conscience, is why the streets saw him as a man with honor.
A man got to have a code.
Stringer, though, Stringer tried to rise above it, but in doing so, he sank beneath it. His dishonor wasn't just in what he did, it was in what he pretended to be. He wanted to play at legitimacy, but he was still ordering murders. He wanted to be seen as a builder, but he built nothing that lasted. And when Omar and brother Muzone cornered him in that construction site, Stringer's entire empire collapsed in that one echoing space.
I understand you're angry, but at the same time, you can see the progress we've made in here. Now, I honestly don't know what passed between you and Senator Davis. But if you're unhappy with Clayton's performance, then you have to work that out. Shit!
He died not as a boss, not as a kingpin, but as a man caught between two worlds he never fully belonged to.
Oh, God! No!
And here's where Marlowe complicates things. Marlowe didn't care about honor in the way Omar did. He didn't need a code beyond absolute fear. He killed Prop Joe. He filled up vacant houses with bodies. He made sure anyone who even whispered about crossing him ended up gone.
Look what they did to my ride! Do it or don't, but I got some place to be.
But, and this is crucial, the streets still respected him.
Moral step to any motherfucker, Omar, Barksdale, whoever. My name is my name.
Why? Because he was consistent. He never pretended to be something else. That's the dividing line.
But the truth is, I'm done with this gangster shit. I've been there, done that.
You're something else other than a gangster.
Businessman.
Omar and Marlowe, opposites in philosophy, both embodied the game honestly. One wrapped his violence in a personal code. The other stripped it down to raw intimidation. And both earned respect. But Stringer got none, because he wanted to be a man of two codes, and in the game, that makes you nothing. Now pause for a second. Imagine if Stringer had lived long enough to see the full rise of Marlowe. Do you think Marlowe would have tolerated a man who tried to push paper instead of corners? Or do you think Marlowe would have sniffed out that weakness in him instantly, the same way he did with every other rival? Because here's the uncomfortable truth. In the game, honor isn't about morality, it's about authenticity. And Omar, for all his contradictions, was authentic. Marlowe, for all his cruelty, was authentic. Stringer Bell, he was pretending, and that's why he was disgraceful.
What y'all niggas want, man? Huh? Money?
Here's the thing about Stringer Bell. He thought he could escape the dirt without ever washing his hands. And that's why Avon turned on him. Avon might have been a gangster through and through, but at least he was an honest gangster. He understood something Stringer never did. Loyalty isn't just a word you throw around in a business meeting. It's the blood pact that holds the game together.
What's up, baby?
That's your uncle?
Yeah.
Remember that scene in the prison visiting room? Avon, locked up, dressed in state blues, sitting across from Stringer, who's laying out the plan. And Avon gives him that look, half amusement, half disgust. Because Avon knew Stringer was drifting. He wasn't speaking the language of the streets anymore. He was speaking the language of ambition.
Man, every market-based business runs in cycles, and we're going through a down cycle right now.
String, this ain't about your motherfucking business class either. It ain't that part of it. It's that other thing. The street is the street, always.
And ambition without loyalty is poison. Avon even says it.
Absolve. What the fuck do that mean? Muzone booked out. We worse off than when he came. Now, if the word get out on the street that we weak like this, how the fuck we supposed to maintain our shit?
That's Avon cutting to the bone.
You better think.
Because Stringer wanted to be feared like a businessman fears bankruptcy, but the game only respects fear built on blood and reputation.
Is that it? Because if it is, man, I could be a better friend to y'all alive.
Contrast that with Omar's code. When Omar went after Avon's crew, he didn't hide it. He whistled. He let everyone know he was coming. And when Brandon, Omar's boy, got killed, Omar didn't go behind anyone's back. He declared war. He stood in court in daylight and called it what it was. That's the definition of facing the consequences head on. And in a twisted way, Avon respected that. You can see it in their exchanges later in the series. Avon didn't like Omar, but he knew Omar was real.
You still don't get it, do you? Huh? This ain't about your money, bro. Your boy gave you up.
Stringer, though, Avon couldn't stomach it anymore. Ordering D'Angelo's murder, cutting backroom deals with Clay Davis, trying to turn the game into something Avon no longer recognized, that was the line. And when Avon let slip Stringer's location to Brother Muzone and Omar, that wasn't just betrayal.
Your boy gave you up. That's right. And we ain't had to torture his ass neither.
That was justice, the game correcting itself. So here's the question. What's worse in that world? Being a killer with a code, or being a builder with no loyalty? Marlowe, again, sits right in the middle of this debate. He didn't care about loyalty in the Avon sense. He wasn't interested in family ties and keeping his people close. His loyalty was to power itself, but at least he was consistent.
Well, alright, first thing, we go hard at Webster Franklin's crew. Gave him a chance to get on a tit, he passed. Then we bang on his corners a couple of times till he folded.
Now you talk.
Yeah, next, we stepped the Junebug for talking that shit. He was a dead man when he opened his mouth. He just walking around not knowing it.
He didn't dress it up in corporate logic. When Prop Joe tried to smooth things over, tried to keep the co-op working, Marlowe stabbed him in the gut, figuratively first, literally later. That was Marlowe's honor, brutal honesty. If you got in his way, you were done.
You'd be up in the mischief in no time. Truth is, you won't be able to change up any more than me. Close your eyes. It won't hurt none. There now. Joe, relax.
And that brings us back to Omar. Omar and Marlowe are often seen as opposites, but in truth, they're two sides of the same coin. Omar represents honor through restraint. Marlowe represents honor through domination. Both lived their truth. Both played the game by rules they refused to break. That's why even when Omar gets gunned down by a kid in a convenience store, anticlimactic, almost meaningless, the legend lives on. The streets remember the code. They tell stories. His name carries weight even after he's gone. Stringer? No one told stories about Stringer. There's no legend. There's no remember when Stringer stood tall.
It seemed like I can't say nothing to change your minds. Well, get on with it, motherfucker.
He dies on the floor of an abandoned construction site, a victim of his own double dealing. And the streets barely blink. That's disgrace in its purest form. Not just death, but erasure. And if you think about it, isn't that the real fear? To die and have no one remember you? To be written off as a fraud in a world that values reputation above everything? Let's push further. When Omar stood in court and broke down Levy, when Marlowe stood on the corners and made sure his name was spoken with reverence, both of them were doing the same thing Stringer could never do. They were cementing themselves in story. And stories are the true currency of the game. Money gets spent, corners get taken, towers fall. But names echo.